7 days of creation in a more condensed form. And it's all in the first day of creation in a more condensed form. And it's all in the first verse. It's all in the first word. It's all in the first letter. Fascinating way of thinking. It's mathematical thinking. It's spiritual mathematics. Is that the Torah is a different reality than we are aware of it. It's not a rational system. So Paro, in the macro world of objects, Paro makes people think that they know what the Torah is. Like the Greeks, they translated the Torah into Septuagint. And they thought that they understood. Oh, that's all it is. It's just a bunch of laws and stories. And the sages said it was like putting a lion in a cage. Lion, this majestic animal, and now caging it and making like that's all it is. So the Torah is a majestic system. But what's happened in our generation is most of that system has become so hidden from us. Partially our own fault and partially the result of our history, of difficult history. But now everything's coming together. Now in the last generation, now when everything is in a sense, in one sense, all scattered, everything is all over the place, nobody, what I mean to say is everything is particularized and divided, where you can go into one place and they're talking fantastic, but you go into another place and there's no connection. In a sense, for me, going to Reb Soloveitchik and to other teachers, to Chabad, to Breslov, to the Ramchal, to the Baal Shem Tov, to the Ari, to the Zohar, I said, wow, each one of these is amazing. But obviously, it's for us to start to put them together in here. Right? Something has to start to come together in here that's greater than the sum of all the parts of these little pieces that all of us have of Torah. A vision has to unfold for us so we can start to see what's here, right under our noses. Why do we need this? Because Emunah is the only way we're going to get through what's going to happen now. Aryeh Kaplan said, or Aryeh Kaplan felt that it was important to speak about prophecy and the return of prophecy, and the necessity of the return of prophecy, and the necessity of preparing ourselves for the return of prophecy. Because the problems that are going to arise are going to be so many, so complex, and every solution we come up with is going to create 10 more problems. We'll need prophecy. We'll need direct connection with Hashem. Nothing else will do. Even in the Jewish system, in the Gemara, it says, I'm not exactly sure, in Masechet Shabbat, there's around page 135, Amar Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, there will be no Mishnah Berurah. There will be no clear teaching. Why did the Mishnah Berurah, why did the Chavetz Chaim write the Mishnah Berurah? In answer to that statement, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, here this is an attempt to clarify all the nuances of what needs to be done and what needs to be understood in halacha before Mashiach comes. But it's beyond that, because now we live in Eretz Yisrael. Now we live in a global village. The problems that are arising daily, every moment, are so enormous. And the great teachers of Torah, it's overwhelming. It's not that I'm anywhere near them, but they themselves will admit that we need the water of Ruach HaKodesh. We need now something much more than the halachic process. And again, I'm for the halachic process. It's awesome. But we need to ask, we need to pray, we need to yearn, please Hashem, and prepare ourselves for this deep inner level that's going to be revealed. So what I like to talk about is this, how do we imagine, how are we to envision the changes that are going to take place on the inner level of reality, which is where it's really happening, as opposed to thinking that things are going to change out there and governments are going to be nice and people are going to be all of a sudden righteous and wonderful, and government leaders like the Arab world and the European powers and America, they're all going to be like really wonderful and say, oh Jewish people, we want to take you and carry you back to your land, and we want to help you to build your temple, and because we know that it's really for our benefit, and we know that we've been really tough on you guys. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It would be a nice, very, very nice. It has to happen here. Something has to happen inside of us. We have to become Israel. So that's, I mean, it's amazing. It's going to happen. Says Micha, like in the days of their going out of Egypt, I'm going to show them miracles, supernatural wonders. And my Rebbe said, Niflaot is Nun Palaot, is 50 times the level of supernatural miracles that we saw back then. That was kids' play. We're going towards the real thing now. So, again, how are we going to enter into that? We have Shabbos. Shabbos is a hint. Everything we do on Shabbos is really, it's a weekly thing, but it contains powerful hints of the millennial level of Shabbos. So we are now holding on the millennial level, we're holding on Friday afternoon at 12:29 and 30 seconds. It takes us, it's 4.5 days per second. You see my physics friend. 4.25 days equals 1 second. 1 second. What am I talking about? I'll show you. What do I? 1 second of what? Whose is this?
Mine.
Can I put it here?
Okay.
Okay. Should I get it? So, this is from the Sefer Yetzirah, where everything is, we're told that there's something called space, time, and consciousness in English. Because the words in Hebrew are Olam, Shana, Nefesh. And so I have a diagram for Olam, which I love to share. The 6 days of creation and what happened on each day, how it came down to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and what that was like, and what the stages that preceded it, and how we're promised that every stage that we went through on the way down, because we were here at every level. We were here at every level of creation. We're going to retrace our steps and get back the incredible levels that we had then, but now consciously. The return trip is conscious, and the return trip is back to the first day, which is when the light shone from one end of the world to the other, that great light of the Ein Sof, and it wasn't hidden. And so then will be the beginning of a larger cycle, and larger cycles. The Infinite One has many good things in store for us. Our view of reality is very beautiful. The reason this is nice is it's symmetrical, is that we're here in the middle in history, in a broken world. But we're told by our sages and by our tradition of exactly what preceded us and what is going to come. And that's important so that now we can know, even though it's not happening now, we can know where we are and what we're supposed to do as a result of these teachings. I didn't give it to you, I didn't say anything. Forgive me for that, but if we need to, we can come back to it. This is the cosmic clock idea, is that the verse here is Ki elef shanim be'enecha ki yom etmol, 1,000 years in your eyes, Hashem, is like a day. 1,000 years is one day. So there's a lot of different things to do with this, but one of them is to start in the year 1240, is the equivalent to the year 5000 in the Hebrew calendar. And to go to 1490 is 250 years, 6 hours. 6 hours further gives us to 1740. Very special people lived at these critical points in the 6th millennium. Again, the 6th millennium is the year 5000, the year 5250, the year 5500, and we just lived in our lifetimes through 5750. That was 12 noon. And we're now in the upswing. And according to this calendar, which is based on the Gra's teachings, 1,000 years is 24 hours, so 250 years is 6 hours. 1 hour, I should say it the other way. 24 hours is 1,000 years, 6 hours is 250 years, 1 hour is 41 years and 8 months, 41 years and 2/3. And so we are now in 2010, which is 20 years a little bit more than 20 years after the beginning of 19